Okay guys, we've got a double header today. I'm going to find two different locations, and that's because finding one location actually helped me to find the other location. But the weirdest part is I had no idea that these two locations were connected to each other before I started looking for them. Check out the first video.
Find me, josemonkey.
So what can we see? This person asks to be found. We can see that they're standing on a small dock on what appears to be a bay. We can see some land across the water here, and as they turn, we can see that there is a row of houses, and the flags tell us that this is definitely the United States. As they keep turning, we can see between the houses here, and I noticed that we have some more water just on the other side of those houses. And that is a pretty common thing that you see in various different coastal cities, and I figured it would help me narrow my search. As they keep turning, we can see some trash cans here. I'll come back to that. And then they show us a view in this direction, and I noted what looks like a bulkhead or a seawall here with wooden pilings. I made note of the distinctive light green coloring. Beyond that, we see a row of houses, followed by a patch of trees. And then at the end here, we have a set of trees that just kind of stood out for me. Way off in the distance here, we can just barely see two vertical lines, but I couldn't tell if those were like masts or antennas, or if they might be part of a bridge or some other structure. Anyway, this person finishes their 360-degree turn, and that's about all we see. Okay, so right away, I thought that this was on the US East Coast, though I didn't know where. Some of those tall trees that I saw off in the distance kind of reminded me of the Carolinas, and I initially started thinking that maybe this was somewhere in the Outer Banks. So I started looking around in that part of North Carolina just to see if it looked plausible. And guys, right away, I saw a couple things that made me feel like I might be onto something. For example, when I saw this row of houses near Kitty Hawk Bay, I felt like that was a similar type of layout to what we have in the video. And when I dropped down to get a closer look, I felt like these green pilings that we see here look very much like what we saw. I was feeling very optimistic. But that's when I ran into some trouble. Because even though I found a few other spots that looked promising, none of them seemed like a match. I wasn't sure if that was because I was looking in the wrong place, or if I just hadn't found the right spot yet. So I spent a while looking at that area, but I eventually concluded that I should probably check some other places in case I was wrong. And after looking at several other coastal cities, I discovered that you can find bulkheads like these pretty much all over the place. Maryland, Long Island, Virginia, it's pretty common. So I was making a bad assumption about this being the Outer Banks based on some blurry trees and a bulkhead. So at that point, it was back to the drawing board. I'd already spent about an hour and 45 minutes at that point, so I decided to take a break. Fast forward to several weeks later, when someone sent me this video.
Bonjour, josemonkey. Can you find us?
So what can we see? Yo, I see a good looking hat. Let's go birds. I also noticed the hat, which told me that this might be somewhere near Philadelphia, but I didn't want to assume too much. After showing us their dog, this person raises the camera to show us this coastal view. They zoom in and show us these houses here and also this pier, and they pan across showing us some of the houses and trees on the far shore. And as I did that, I was sort of struck by these trees right here because they actually reminded me of that spot where we saw the trees in the other video. Yo, maybe it's the Outer Banks. Well, I had that same thought, but then I remembered that sent me on a wild goose chase last time, so I didn't want to get ahead of myself. Anyway, right at the end of the video, the person gives us a pretty good look at this suspension bridge here. And for people who know this area, I suspect that probably reveals the location right away, but I did not recognize it on sight. And that's pretty much all they show us. Now, I didn't immediately connect this video to the other video I showed you. They looked somewhat similar, but I figured that was probably a coincidence. But I did suspect that this was somewhere on the East Coast as well, probably not too far from Philadelphia.
Yo, what about the French accent, though?
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that. I do not believe for one second that this person is French or is in a French-speaking area.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, too.
Okay, so I figured the bridge was probably the best clue here. So I just started looking for photos of suspension bridges in places like Maryland and Delaware that were not too far from Philly. And right away, I saw this photo of the Charles W. Cullen Memorial Bridge, and I was pretty sure that was it. So I pulled up a map of that area to look around to see where I might get a view like the one we see in the video. And it didn't take me too long to find a spot that seemed plausible. And when I dropped down to take a look, I realized that the spot I had chosen was actually that pier that we see in that person's video. And guys, that was it. You are here at Holts Landing State Park in Dagsboro, Delaware. So I was able to figure out that this person was right over here near this parking lot, and I actually found a user-submitted 360-degree photo on Google Maps from pretty much the same spot. Okay, now it was only after I found this place I started reflecting on the fact that I almost looked in the Outer Banks like I did for the other location, which got me thinking, what if that other place was near here? Like, what if those vertical lines from the other video were actually part of this same bridge? So I started poking around. I decided to take a look at the area just across the bay from where our friend in the eagle's hat was, because if I was right about the bridge, I figured that you'd have to be over on that side to get an angle like what we see in the video. And right away I felt like we had a layout that looked similar to what we see in that person's video. So I dropped down to take a look, and when I did, the very first thing I saw was this trash can. And I knew I was in the right spot. Guys, that was it. You were here in Long Neck, Delaware. Okay, so that place where I found the trash can is actually one of the houses we see in the video. It's this one with the teal shutters. Once I realized that, it didn't take me too long to find the exact spot. It's right over here. Yo, this seems like it might be somebody's house. You good with that? That is an excellent point, Chad. As you guys know, I ask people not to send me videos from their homes. And that's because I don't want to end up revealing somebody's personal information doing a silly video like this. So after I found this place, I reached out to this person to confirm that this is not their home and that I would not be revealing anything personal by showing you this. And they confirmed that that is the case. Good looking out, dog. Okay, so as you may have guessed, these two locations are very close to each other. They are only about 1.6 miles or about 2.6 kilometers apart. And I'm actually pretty sure that you can see each one of these spots from the other video. But the distance makes it a little tricky to pinpoint the exact locations. Also, the 3D model on Google Earth is not very detailed for this area, so I can't make a compelling visual for you like I did in that place in Florida. Even so, I was able to get this view from where our friend in the eagle's hat was standing, and that tells us that our friend in the pink shirt was right over here. And if we look at the view from where that person was, our friend in the eagle's hat would be somewhere over here. Had these locations not been so close to each other, they both would have been closest to the same previous location that I have found. And that is one of the places I found during Beach Week, in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. It's about 8 or 9 miles from both of these places. Okay, that was kind of a long one, guys. I hope it was worth it. Go check out the map of all the places I've found for you so far from the videos you've sent me. And if anybody else wants me to find them, record a video where you say, "Find me, Jose Monkey," or something like that on camera, or hold up a sign that says something similar. And don't forget to tag me in that video.